And our second presenters are NEAR8 team, and it's a team. So Jim Mathews is the founder in the academy who's going to be doing the presentation with his team today. Jim, do you need any help plugging in?
I think we're good. If Alec can share his screen and do the slides. Yeah, I've got Alec and Skyana and Arpit on here. So Skyana helps mainly on our Unity side. We have a few different people working in Unity on our actual mobile game. And then Arpit, who's in India, is focused with me on the blockchain integration side, which, as we'll get to in a minute, is sort of separate from our mobile game in that you input user-generated content in the form of moments using a web app. Those user-generated moments then get sort of integrated into our actual game in Unity, which we'll show in a minute, and become part of the content sort of backdrop and the storyline. So, but yeah, I'll just sort of jump right in. So at this point, like our project's been around for a couple of years, and it was focused mainly on interactive content aside from blockchain a couple of years ago. And we always planned to integrate a blockchain component and started to do that about a year ago. And that's sort of where we are now. And then during the crypto winter, the last few months, we were pitching this to a couple people in the fall and got some good interest. But with the funding sort of downturn, what we did was we just decided to build out our game in Unity, which has been our main sort of focus the last few months. So we haven't been pitching at all. So this is a good opportunity for us to get back in the pitch. And we've been revising the deck all week. And also we built out the blockchain side and are on the test net now and sort of fine-tuning that and fine-tuning the interface for, you know, the presentation and the front end to users, but we are on the test net now. So let's see, Alec, if we could go to the next slide. So the main problem, and you know, Mariana and I have discussed this for, you know, over a year, a couple of years, I think, and we were on a panel together in California last year around this time. But you know, sort of the holy grail for entertainment for many years has been, how do you involve users in traditional narratives, whether the narrative's like a movie or a game or a television show. And you'll remember like a few years ago, you know, there was the whole, well, there were a few different things going on. HBO had an app with Steven Soderbergh, which was a TV show, which they made into an app, and they got all these patents around it. And you could follow, it was like a murder mystery with Sharon Stone, and you could follow each character. You had to do it on an iPad, which was super annoying. You couldn't do it on the television. So when I did it with someone, you have to like literally sit next to them and operate the iPad to see all these different perspectives of the narrative. And what ended up happening with that was it was sort of cumbersome. It's like, why would you want to watch the same movie 7 times and see 7 different, you know, totally different perspectives that you have to watch? It's sort of confusing, like what the experience should be, whether you have to do all of them or just some of them, or, you know. And then they ended up actually tying it all together and making it into a traditional like 2-hour TV show that they edited and just had all the perspectives in there and made it into a traditional narrative, which I thought was interesting. But then after that, Netflix came out with Bandersnatch, you know, Black Mirror's Bandersnatch episode. And everyone said again, they're like, this is the future of content. And, you know, you use your remote control and choose branching narratives and all of this. And then at the same time, Netflix started saying that they were going to start doing that with tons of TV shows. And then they got into a lawsuit with Choose Your Own Adventure because they'd used the words choose your own adventure, and the book publisher that owns Choose Your Own Adventure sued them. But that was another point where everyone was like, this is the future of interactive entertainment. Years later, like, you know, they do a little bit of that still, but it's really more for children's programming, that, you know, that type of interaction where, you know, the kids will hold the remote and choose different, you know, branches in a you know, children's programming. It's not something for adults because it sort of conflicts with, you know, when you're in entertainment mode, you don't want to be like operating your television manually. It's sort of like you want to be on the couch and vegging out, and if anything, you want to have your phone available to text with friends or be on TikTok at the same time or on Instagram. And it just doesn't really work with the multitasking lifestyle that people lead right now, and it's not really relaxing to have to interact constantly with your entertainment. Aside from gaming, where even when you're gaming, you can be in Discord and you can be texting with friends at the same time. But that's sort of like what everyone searches for, is the sweet spot of what level of interaction is welcome, or is the target level of interaction in entertainment and in gaming narratives. So let's see. Let me look at our slide here. This slide just sort of goes through that problem. And then let's see, Alec, do you want to flip to our one pager so we can say exactly what we're doing, and then we'll go back to our main deck. So this is our one pager that we did last fall when we were talking to a couple of investors. We've updated it for some of these milestones this year, but essentially we have a few different touch points and entry points to the project for users. So we have a Unity game that we've built for mobile, which is an app. So that meets users where they are. Like if you're at Starbucks or if you're on the couch watching some other TV show, you can be exploring this game just by downloading our app. You don't need to connect a wallet. You don't need to, do like 50 annoying signups. You can just dive right in to this experience and play a game that involves other people's content. In the second square there, that's where we have a separate web interface where you can actually be uploading moments in the form of times and places that you can then either mint if you connect your wallet for one Matic at this point. We're just trying to use like a nominal charge to get some monetization, but we're not trying to suggest that this is like a like a PFP collection from last year or something like that. It's really just a nominal charge we're looking to collect to mint a moment that then goes into our whole game ecosystem, basically. And users can mint moments, and then there are also narrative trajectories that we do and produce ourselves, which is like an opportunity for future monetization and partnerships and stuff like that as well, and for higher produced content. And then, the third cube there is sort of, we'll show you a live demo in a minute, but that essentially shows you what happens to your moments is that they start appearing throughout this game. And we have a bunch of, part of the game is set up around, there's all these NPCs that are in the form of sort of robots that walk around and guard your moment. So when you pay your one Matic, your memory of your birthday party 20 years ago, or something that's a creative moment that you've created in the future, say New York in the year 2050 or something like that. Each of those is in our system and starts to appear in various contexts throughout the narrative, basically. So in here you can see this robot is carrying around some memory of a moment in a park, and it essentially just watches it over and over. So it's sort of, and we have theaters and nightclubs and stuff where these moments appear on screens. And then we also have sort of like an experience where you can actually go into a room which is created and rendered in real time that then displays the blockchain entry, on chain of your moment. And we can demonstrate that in a minute too. But that's sort of the goal, is to have a fun game first and then have some sort of influence over what's in the game and where you go by inputting like a modular building block of content, sort of like, like little Legos where you can put in all of these moment trajectories for fun, which, sort of occupies a different part of your brain too, and a different part of your day. Sometimes you want to be playing a game and interacting with content, and sometimes you might want to be sharing content like people do, on Instagram or whatever, on TikTok. So, if you're on a train or waiting at Starbucks, maybe you have 5 minutes and you think, I'll upload something. Or maybe you're on your couch for 2 hours and you'll think, I'll explore the game side of this. So we're trying to get two different parts of your day, or two different types of users even, to be involved with this. So Alec, do you want to go back to our regular deck, and then I'll just flip through that quickly, and then maybe we'll let Arpit talk about the blockchain side, and then he also has his phone hooked up to give sort of a live demo of the app. Let me flip through our deck quickly. Any questions so far?
No, let's see the deck. That would be great.
Okay, great. So let's go to the next page. So this is sort of self-explanatory, but we're looking to bridge both old forms of entertainment and new forms of entertainment, and then also be able to bridge the gap between Web2 to Web3 user onboarding problems that Web3 games had last year. So, obviously you talk about like Axie Infinity and like the successful ones. Many of those are sort of interesting due to their scarcity. They're interesting. It's like a closed universe. If you're, a 12-year-old or, someone who doesn't have a lot of money to spend, it was very hard to get into Axie Infinity once it became a thing. And then on the other side, it's like the onboarding for most games, once you have the requirement that you set up your wallet and everything, you lose just, almost all of the audience. And a lot of the other sort of panels I've been on and everything, like, really identify that as the main, stumbling block for getting wider integration into the consciousness for Web3 games. The other side of that is that many people who are traditional gamers just inherently don't want NFTs in their game. And they think that it sort of cheapens the storyline, and it cheapens, they want to see the lore, and they want to be in a community that cares about the characters. They don't want a lot of speculators coming in and owning parts of their game or creating parts of their game if those people are there to make money. Because again, it's like if you work all day and you come back and you want to play a game, that's the fun part of your day. You don't want to have it be, grinding for dollars or a casino type experience, because it's not as relaxing. If you just worked all day and, to make money, it's like, if you want to make money at night, you probably are on a gambling app instead of in a game. It's like the conflict there is sort of stark, and like you get a lot of traditional gamers that just haven't yet seen the way in which they would be interested in a Web3 narrative game. And that's, again, I think something that we're trying to solve for here. And this just talks at the bottom about our different touch points and what you can do as a user to participate in this world. It's like you can either go in the app, you can either upload content, you can participate with our filters on social media, and we have an AR side to this, which is what we're working to build out next. So, but all of those hook you back into this world, sort of like the way in which Disney, there's like Disney World, and once you've been there once, you can sort of picture how it's all laid out, and you can interact with all of that IP. Even when you're not at Disney World, you can still sort of think about how it all fits in that universe in like a cohesive world, and I think that's sort of the goal for, not just monopolizing, but keeping people's consciousness when they're not specifically in a game. It's like a lot of games or movies, it's like either I'm watching the movie or I'm not watching the movie, or I'm watching a different movie, or I'm in a different game. But it's hard to sort of get water cooler level interests and conversations going around IP. It's really sort of something you just have to be either in or not in at a time. And I think that that's something that Disney does, great historically, is that all of that, each component of their story world and, their narrative world sort of supports other components of it, even though there's different storylines, pirates and, futurism and princesses and stuff like that. It's like they all fit together in a very interesting way that sort of people can relate to as a whole and separately. So you want to flip our slide there, Alec? So for the trends, this is something we've just been addressing again this week because our trends were out of date from last year. But what you've seen, another trend that we really see in terms of other projects that get funded and other news stories is that all the people who were gung-ho about Web3 games last year, have now decided that, what we're doing all along is the way to get people involved is to have a mobile game, because every, person out there, especially in the target audience, up to 25, everyone's on their phone all day. So it's like, why create an experience that you have to do on a computer or in VR when you would lose so many people to, that they are not in VR all day, or they're rarely in VR with a headset. And it's like, why make it so they have to be at a computer when they're at the bus stop and they have a minute to participate in this now? So I think that's where we think of our touch points of a web interface and a mobile app as, the entry points for onboarding, a much larger audience. And that's where we've sort of focused our trends at this point. So here's some shots from inside our game, and that third square on the left there, that third rectangle, that white room with the hash on the wall there in the white room, that is a rendered moment of a user moment. So that hashtag that we create is generated from you inputting into the web interface a time, a place, and we have other factors that's closer to like a Google Earth level of specificity, like heading and things like that are optional that you could enter in, because in the future, this build out is sort of interesting from an AR perspective. Like, it's not just a time and a place, or it's not just a pin on a map. It's more like, what can you do with these little nuggets of moment data in terms of visualizations and, sort of cross, calling ones that are all facing in the same direction at the location, or visualizing them in an interface with some sort of, 3D time and place, spatial relationships between moments. So that's what we're trying to do with the specificity of the moments. Do you want to, let's see. Yep. So a year ago, we decided to, we were looking at all the different chains and elected to go with Polygon, and we signed an agreement with Polygon Studios and got a bunch of support from them, marketing support, and also a little bit of engineering support, which, so far has been a great choice and is, obviously what many others chose as well. And we're interested in looking at multi-chain possibilities, around Ethereum based, layer 2 and BNB chain, and anything else that that would help us to attract or to facilitate, more people participating with this. Want to flip? So blockchain integrated moments, and maybe I'll let Arpit take over for a minute to just talk a little bit about our Polygon side, and also to share a little bit. Arpit, are you there?
Yeah. Okay. Can you? Yeah. So let me introduce myself first. So my name is Arpit. I'm working and learning in this blockchain development ecosystem since 2021, and I've been worked on smart contract that are live on mainnet for 3 products in production right now. And I've been working at NEAR8 and really enjoying it since last year, September. I started with blockchain integration with this concept of NEAR8. I personally have been developing on EVM compatible chains, Ethereum compatible chains, like Binance and Polygon. We have deployed our smart contract on Polygon. So these BNB and Polygon layer 2s serves as a layer 2 for Ethereum and incorporating its highest security blockchain, secure blockchain. So what our smart contract does is whenever you go to create a moment, it requires multiple fields. It is optional. It's up to you. The parameters that we use to create a moment, including latitude, longitude, date, time. It's up to you. Okay, you can create a futuristic moment. You can create a moment in past, and a few other parameters, including heading, height. So yeah, and our we are using 2 different standards for our smart contract. First of all, our smart contract is a NFT smart contract. Basically, we are monetizing these moments as non-fungible tokens, and it's if you own a moment, then your moment is bound to yourself. So it's like there's a concept in the Ethereum ecosystem of soul bounded tokens. So your moment is soul bounded to you. This is the standard we have integrated in our smart contract. So you cannot transfer your this token to anyone. You can just keep linking and keep relating to these moments, creating new moments like that. And in the application, we have like allowing Web3 users with a crypto wallet as well as Web2 users, like anyone who has not any knowledge of crypto and blockchain space, they can use the application, enjoy it. If they want to create a moment of I'm enjoying NEAR8 and want to create a moment of this. While playing NEAR8 on my couch in my room, so he can just submit the form. We will bundle the transaction of these kinds of Web2 users, and we will publish weekly to the Polygon blockchain. So we are working in this manner. And regarding user privacy, as we are now concerned about user privacy and taking steps for user-related data. Let's say if I'm not sure, like I don't want to share my exact coordinates. Someone can follow up to me or anything. So we are geo-hashing. There's a concept of geo-hashing to hide coordinates, to represent coordinates without and hide coordinates, and other privacy-related data, privacy-related policy we are looking into to tackle this problem of user personal information. So this is what we have been thinking about and doing from so far, and we are finally have testing. We are in testing phase, and we have been testing the smart contract by minting moments and more into it, like integration. We have done the integration into the application. Let me know whenever you guys want me to show the application, so I can open the app and show it to you. So
yeah, let's let Alec flip through like relatively quickly our next slides so we get through those without running out of time, and then you can get the app ready maybe just, and we'll sort of go right to that next. So let's see, and let's keep flipping so we get to our team and our financials, just so we don't. Well, actually, the in-game store, you know, is another monetization initiative that we have, both for just traditional like skin type in-game purchases that can help you navigate and help, you know, unlock certain parts of our storylines and certain parts of our story world. But then also that can also be built out as a separate, you know, blockchain integrated side in the future. But for right now, we're not pushing that because we are really hoping to get sort of the crossover appeal first with the building blocks for future blockchain integration, so that we don't get, you know, there's always the problem when we're talking about investors where it's like, you know, some people want only the next Axie Infinity, and then some people only want a game that's not NFT integrated, and it's always difficult to sort of find the consumer focused NFT open investor. So we focus our build out on that as well, you know, in terms of attracting wider audience. And then let's flip and social media. We've done a lot with social media, not currently, but last year we did a lot to sort of test out our different user demographics and interests. Did a bunch of interactive filters around content on Instagram and TikTok, and got a lot of data from that that sort of guided us in terms of what we've been building out since then. But we have all of our data and sort of user acquisition costs, and let's keep flipping as we talk here. So we've got a lot of background A/B testing that helped us pinpoint this demographic, and we essentially just went younger after doing all of this testing, and have concluded that old people like me are not our target audience. But people who are young at heart are our target audience. And let's see. So this, we've mainly, you know, we've got a few different revenue streams, and we've also got sort of a whole plan for build out, which is mainly you know, both content and engineering build out. Let's keep flipping. And again, let's flip. And yeah, so this is where we're trying to fine tune our numbers and to determine how much we can, you know, rely or should rely on NFTs as a funding source, as opposed to just saying, you know, this is blockchain integrated for, you know, basically nominal amounts, and whether our in-game purchases will eventually be, you know, sort of drops that are NFTs or just, you know, purchased in fiat. So in either scenario, it really just, you know, will depend on what the market will bear and will dictate, because we could go in either way at this point, since we have the infrastructure set up for both. Let's flip. And we've got like sort of a large team. This is our core team here. We're the ones who work, you know, on crossover aspects, but we've got other sort of more specialized engineers and people who work on the Unity side without necessarily being knee deep in the blockchain side too, but can do separate projects. And we have a large advisory team that with people who've been, you know, heavily involved in media in the past, so, or currently. Okay, Arpit, could you show just a few, just try to run through our app for a couple minutes and just show people maybe a white room and then sort of our store and everything else? Cool. Alec, do you have anything to add while he's getting that ready?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Alec. Nice to see you all. Yeah, we've been working a lot on the build out. What I think we're most excited about is just how we're able to incorporate both Web 2 and Web 3 users, and this kind of new model of participation that doesn't rely so much on just open world build out of you being able to build anything, but still offers the structure of traditional narrative gameplay that has, you know, campaigns, has drops, has a little bit more flow to it. So we offer like the narrative expertise of a traditional gaming company, while also the participation of this kind of new age model. So we're really excited to be at the forefront of that.
And Alex's background is, his interest is not specifically in the Unity side, but he's very interested in interactive narratives, and he just, you know, he's knee deep in everything immersive entertainment wise. So that's the way we sort of build the project, is from, you know, an entertainment perspective, as opposed to, hey, we only work in Unity, so let's do a Unity project that appeals to those people, you know, or we only work in blockchain and let's do a game now. But, you know, it's really meant to be designed from the narrative side first. So
yeah, definitely.
Sky, do you have anything to add that I've missed?
Yeah, I think you covered most of it. Yeah, I agree with Alec. One of my favorite things about this project is just how many different kinds of users we can reach with different ways to enter the project and then explore the project. That's one of the things that I think is really cool about it.